Welcome to Unruly 3, father of 3 unruly kids.
I'm not really.
So we have a family reunion coming up, and my mom, they're going to have like a raffle, so everybody needs to take some stuff. So my mom wanted me to make a couple different gifts. So the first gift I'm going to make is a cribbage board. So I'm running this machine, this beautiful piece of walnut through I have a carve right CNC machine, and the pieces that when they get ran through, they have to be pretty flat and square. So right here, I'm just kind of sanding off all the rough stuff, anything that's going to catch on the belt or anything like that. And then I'm going to cut this to size on the table saw. And this piece is unbelievable. I got really lucky finding this one. And this is kind of how, this is exactly how the carve right works. Just slowly starts carving back and forth, kind of like a printer. So I'm doing a John Deere symbol inside of a cribbage board here. So here it's just kind of getting the shape of the deer down. Then you put in a different bit and it starts making all the holes. I have a little vacuum set up there to try to catch everything. So then once this CNC machine is all the way done, then I get to add my epoxy into the John Deere symbol there. And I'm going to make this a golden, kind of a gold deer, goldish yellowish. So this is equal parts epoxy. And when you mix it, you really got to mix it good to get all the way around the edges. Like really scrape along the edge and try to get down into the bottom and bring it up. When I put this into the deer then, well, I also got to make sure that this board over here is flat. And so I'm going to check it all the way, that way it flows to the right spots. Now, when I put it into the deer, I want this to be below the surface, a little bit below the surface. That way when I sand it, the sandpaper isn't scratching up the epoxy when it dries. So I fill it up almost up to the top, and then I like to take a toothpick and just go around the edges and try to pop any bubbles that are underneath the surface. And then you take that little flame to it and that will pop all the bubbles. And then I let it sit for about 5 minutes. I come back and I go over it again with that flame until it gets good. Now, once it gets kind of starting to tack up, I like to take a toothpick to it again, and it brings out this more marbly look to it. I did go back and get inside this nose a little bit, but it just gives it more of a marbly look once it dries instead of being just a flat one color. And then I just start sanding. I sanded this all the way up to 220, and then I sprayed it with water, and then I sanded it again. And then here I'm using the Deft lacquer finish. I'm actually using a gloss this time. Once it sits all down, then I rub it with the $100 bill. Actually, that's just a $1 bill. And then go ahead and put another couple coats on it. And then the next project I'm going to do some bottle stoppers, and I'm doing some Cadillacs, and some zebra wood. And you got to find the middle of your board. This is a pretty cool little thing that I got there from Rockler. Then I'm going to punch it so I can make sure I'm starting in the right spot. And then I use my drill bit and I put a hole in there, and then I'm going to thread it to try to get some threads in there. So this is the depth that I want to go at least to make sure I get in there far enough. So I'm going to tap these threads in there, bring it back out, and then I like to use a little bit of super glue and to go back into them, and I think that makes the threads a little bit harder, make it so that they grip onto the part that I'm going to turn it when I put it onto my wood lathe. I get all these pieces online, So I get them from site Ruth Niles bottle stoppers, and they're cheaper than they are at getting them from Rockler. And she's got a really good selection of all kinds of different bottle stoppers. And then putting the super glue in there makes those threads harder so that they can screw onto this mandrel. I also got the mandrel that's on here from Ruth Niles. So one thing about these bottle stoppers is if you make them too tall, and you put the bottle stopper on them, they don't fit into a fridge or into a container if you make the bottle stoppers super tall. So I like to make them pretty short. That way they just go right on there. And the crazy thing is, once I make these bottle stoppers and somebody buys them, the next thing I always hear from them is, I bought a bottle stopper from you and I haven't ever used it because we always finish the bottle, which I think is pretty true. I think a lot of people are like that. So, but they're pretty when they get all done. So the mandrel is the exact same size as the bottle stopper and that you buy from that Ruth Niles site. So I'm kind of deciding what to do, and then of course I have no plan. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to end up cutting off a whole bunch of this. So right here I'm deciding that this is about where it's going to be cut off at. I'm going to make it a pretty small little bottle stopper. I'm going to take that part away and just kind of cut off the edge here. And then cut it off with a saw. Still have a little bit of sanding to do after this part. Well, I'm going to do the end, just kind of make it a little bit smooth. So right there, I'm listening to, actually as I was doing that, I was listening to this book called Superpowered. It's by Drew Hayes, and I'm hooked. There's 4 different books, and the other night I was up till 3 in the morning listening to it, and again, we're listening to actually book 4 and trying to get all the way done. Again, I've read them before, but I'm listening to them again, and it's just really good listening to them. So highly recommend the book. Superpowered's by Drew Hayes. That wood turned out really pretty once you put the oil on it. So here's the zebra wood. Now I'm just starting to get it all rounded up. These 2 woods turned so much different. The zebra wood was a lot softer than the Cadillacs. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but and I'm going to go with a totally different shape in this one. And then I'm going to change my mind, go to a different shape. Then I thought I would do a little burning into this one and cut that one off right there at that back. And finish up the end piece here. I think zebra wood is meant to be laid flat, like for a box or something that has a flat top or the sides. But when you start doing it round, it really takes away from the beautiful grain that's in it. I think this one looks really good, but I think it loses a little bit when it goes to being round. So I did one with Purple Heart, and I did an ebony one. I had a small chunk of ebony that turned out really cool. My first time turning ebony. This one here is Koa. And the Cadillacs, I like that one. I like the shape of that one a lot. And the zebra wood. And then here's how the cribbage board turned out. Really happy with it. The finish on it turned out fantastic. All right, thanks again everybody for watching. If you like what you see, please give me a subscribe. I really appreciate it.